Uh, Good morning, everyone. The guests are arriving, so please be seated. The ones who don't have place to sit, I apologize to you all, and just be quiet. Thank you. The ones who are watching online, the guests are arriving, so we'll start very soon. Thank you. Please stand up. Good morning, all of you. The guests have arrived. So, please be seated. Thank you. Good morning, everyone. On behalf of Savitribai Phule Pune University, I, Bharati Kokil, welcome you all to the lecture on Making Cities Future Ready. We begin with the university song, and I would like to request everyone to stand while the song is being played.
परीक्षा न्यायास्तव जागृतिः सत्त्वपरीक्षा सेवेतच मुक्तिः मङ्गलदीक्षा न्यायास्तव जागृतिः सत्त्वपरीक्षा हे विश्वचिखर अमुसे मन्त्रवामः ज्ञानमनो कर्मशील कर्म ज्ञानवान् पुण्यमयी देया मा अक्षर वरदान पुण्यमयी देया मा अक्षर वरदान ज्ञानमनो कर्मशील कर्म ज्ञानवान् ज्ञानमनो कर्मशील कर्म ज्ञानवान्.
Thank you. Please be seated. We now move on to the auspicious lighting of the lamp. Lighting of the lamp has been a part of various traditions and cultures around the world. Light symbolizes knowledge and energizes the atmosphere. Lighting the lamp is a ritual we follow to invoke the presence of the Almighty. May I now request all the dignitaries to light the lamp. The dignitaries are lighting the lamp. Thank you, sirs, and thank you, ma'am. May I now request the Director of the International Center, Professor Dr. Vijay Khare, to welcome the audience and introduce the distinguished guests.
Honorable Vice Chancellor, Professor Karvari Kale, Pro Vice Chancellor, Professor Sanjay Sonone, Registrar of the University, Professor Praful Pawar, dignitaries on the dais, Honorable Shri Solomon Arokiaraj, Joint Secretary, Department of Economic Affairs, Minister of Finance, Government of India, Shri Virender Singh, Advisor, IER, Department of Economic Affairs, Ministry of Finance, Government of India, Srimati Shalini Aggarwal, Municipal Commissioner, Surat, Shri Sanjay Grover, who is going to come in a few minutes, urban expert, Asian Development Bank. Yes, sir, please. 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 Respected members in the audience, former Vice Chancellor, Professor Nitin Karmakar, newly nominated Honorable Management Council member, all principals, directors, deans, faculty of various deans of the various faculties, all college principals who are joining from online in a blended mode. This lecture we are scheduling, so more than 7 lakh students is seeing this event. I'm very happy to welcome you all, sir. Here, Honorable Rajeshji Pandey, who is the convener of Government of Maharashtra in G20 event, and we all aware that on campus we are hosting the G20 event from today onwards to 17th of January. There are a number of series of meetings are going to held, and we all aware about G20, how India is taking place an important role and the capacity of the appointing a presidency of G20. Dear friends, today Jana Bhagidari event. This is a lecture on making cities future ready agenda. This is a lecture as a part of G20 event. And I'm very happy that a very eminent scholar who spent full of their services, dedicated life to make this good cities, how city can be converted good cities in a perspective of Western cities as well as the global cities. I'm very happy to welcome Honorable Joint Secretary of Economic Affairs, Sri Solomon Arkaji. He is going to speak on, is going to give a welcome remarks. Then Virender Singh ji is going to talk about what is the role of G20 and what will be activities in 1 year. And then making cities futures ready. Shalini Aggarwal is going to speak before us. We will have it 10 minutes for the question answer, followed by there's 3 lectures. And Honorable Sanjay ji will talk about what would be challenges for the urban cities. That these are the event is particularly for the student. Students are the main stakeholder and they will play important role for the future development of this country. And on that context, we have organized this event. I'm very happy that all my students from different places are joining this event. There are number of students, all stakeholders, administrative staff, media from the electronic and print media, and all peoples are joining here to this event. On behalf of everyone, I'm welcoming to each one on behalf of Savitribai Phule Pune University. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. We now proceed with the felicitation. May I request the Honorable Vice Chancellor, Savitribai Phule Pune University, Professor Dr. Karbhari Kale, to felicitate our guests. We begin with felicitation with Shri Solomon Arokiaraj. I repeat, Shri Solomon Arokiaraj, Joint Secretary, Department of Economic Affairs, Ministry of Finance, Government of India, with a shawl, bouquet, and a memento. Shri Solomon Arokiaraj, Joint Secretary, Department of Economic Affairs. Shri Virender Singh, Advisor, IER, Department of Economic Affairs, Ministry of Finance, Government of India. Shri Virender Singh, Advisor, IER, Department of Economic Affairs, Ministry of Finance, Government of India. Srimati Shalini Aggarwal, Municipal Commissioner, Surat. Srimati Shalini Aggarwal, Municipal Commissioner, Surat. Thank you, sir. May I request, thank you, sir. May I request Shri Rakesh Pandey, convener of G20 Summit, Government of Maharashtra, to felicitate Shri Sanjay Grover, Urban Expert, Asian Development Bank. Shri Sanjay Grover, Urban Expert, Asian Development Bank. Thank you. We all know that no program can be organized without a man behind the curtain. And that person here who has kind of organized this whole event is Shri Aman Garg. So may I request Rakesh Pandey, sir, once again. Rajesh Pandey, conveyor of G20 Committee, Government of Maharashtra. We also have Mr. Jitendra Raje, who is the director. Yeah. Mr. Jitendra Raje is the director. Thank you, sir. That is the registrar who has felicitated him, Registrar Professor Dr. Prafulla Pawar. Thank you, sir. Thank you, all of you all. May I now request Shri Solomon Arokiaraj, Joint Secretary, Department of Economic Affairs, Ministry of Finance, Government of India, to deliver the welcome address.
Dignitaries on the dais and off the dais, my dear student friends, a very good morning to all of you. Yeah. In fact, we are very delighted to be here on behalf of the Ministry of Finance, Department of Economic Affairs. We have been organizing a lot of events in Pune for the last 7-10 days. All of you might have seen in the press. So the purpose of organizing all these events is to involve every citizen in this G20 proceeding. Of course, my colleague Virender will explain in detail about what is G20, what is there in India's presidency for what we are trying to do for the next 1 year. But a very important event is going to take place on 16th and 17th here, where delegates from different countries are coming. And there's a working group meeting which is going to happen. So that working group is called Infrastructure Working Group. So globally, this working group keeps working on issues related to infrastructure. But in this current year, India has chosen building cities of tomorrow that are sustainable, inclusive, and resilient. Now, the relevance of this topic is already across the globe, more than 50% of the population are living in cities. And this trend is going to increase further. By 2045, according to projections, this number is going to go up by 1.5 times. And 80% of the global GDP is contributed by cities. This gives you an idea as to why we have chosen this topic. In India also, you might have been seeing that the growing trend of urbanization is an opportunity for us. At the same time, we also face few challenges. So this working group is going to deliberate on various topics related to how do we build cities of tomorrow that becomes growth engines for our country, and at the same time, what are the challenges that we are going to face and how are we going to address. Many of the challenges are related to infrastructure building, addressing climate change, how to sustain the pressure on the natural resources, and how do we mobilize money to build all this infrastructure for our future growth. That is the main event that is going to happen in Pune on 16th and 17th. But I have to congratulate and thank the Government of Maharashtra and the city administration, the Vice Chancellor sir and his team here have been part of this event. And in the last 7 to 10 days, we have organized many events around the city wherein citizens have actively participated in huge numbers, thereby creating a lot of vibrant citizen participation around these events. So without taking much time, I would leave to the colleagues Virender to explain about G20. And Shalini is a Surat Municipal Commissioner. She is actually handling and facing these issues day in and day out. She is going to share her experience of what she is grappling with, how she is able to find solutions for these problems, and how she is building a city that is oriented towards the future. Similarly, Sanjay is also very experienced. He is working in Asian Development Bank. The urban team in Asian Development Bank is also collaborating with us in this journey. So he will also give his perspectives of international learnings and examples from around the world as how cities are grappling with these challenges and how they are trying to catch up these opportunities and serve the citizens better. Without taking any further time, I thank the entire administration here and the Vice Chancellor sir, and all the student friends who are sitting here and watching this whole program live across the state in various universities. And let us all make this G20 event in Pune a grand success. Thank you one and all.
Thank you, sir. We proceed with the next lecture on G20 by Shri Virender Singh, advisor, IER, Department of Economic Affairs, Ministry of Finance, Government of India. It'll be a PPT.
Yeah, if we can have the PPT, that will be good. In fact, otherwise, I can just manage it without PPT as well. It's
Okay,
done. Yeah. Thank you very much, Honorable Vice Chancellor, other dignitaries on the dais, and my dear young friends. I think my colleague, Mr. Solomon, has set a very nice background to this discussion. And what I'll be doing during this next 15 to 20 minutes is that I will be giving you a very brief idea what G20 is all about, how does it function, what are all other players, and what are the how G20 is done across other countries, and what would be the India's approach during our G20 presidency. So straight away, I think we can go to the PPT if we can have first slide. No. So, okay, I think there is no provision. This PPT slides can't be done. So let me then go ahead without PPT. So G20, as you know, you might have read about G20 a lot. As student, particularly the international relations, economic relations, you might have read about all those multilateral organizations like IMF, World Bank, others, including G20. So now the basic difference between these organizations and G20 is that G20 is an intergovernmental grouping. So it's not something which is a treaty-based, like IMF, World Bank. These institutions are treaty-based organization, and whatever decisions are taken in these institutions, they are sort of implemented in a binding manner. But G20 is an intergovernmental organization, which is a consensus-based organization, and the decisions are taken on the basis of consensus. Now, how did the G20 come into being? So basically, so it is an extension, not extension, but expansion of the there was a G7 grouping, which consisted of advanced countries like US, UK, France, Germany, Japan, Italy. So this grouping came into being in 1976. But eventually, when the Asian financial crisis hit us in 1997, at that time, it was felt that the issues being discussed, usually the G7 used to channelize and do the policy coordination on most of the economic issues at the world stage. But when the financial crisis of 1997 hit, that time it was, it is already there. So it was actually realized that perhaps all these countries are not able to navigate through those crisis period. At that time, there were countries basically which the world felt that systemically those countries are very important if we have to deal with economic issues. So that's how this G20 forum came into being in 99, particularly. At that time, it was a finance ministers forum. So what used to happen, that finance minister would gather in one of the countries of the G20 country. They would discuss a wide array of issues of economic importance and then come out with some recommendations. So it was going on, and various countries hosted the annual meetings, including India. We hosted the finance ministers meeting in 2002. After that, yet another crisis struck us in 2008. I'm sure that all of you might have read about the financial crisis of 2008. And it is also termed as a Great Depression period. So at that time, the need was felt that this perhaps there is a big need for bigger, higher level intervention. So that's how this forum was elevated to the leaders level forum. So then it became a leaders summit in 2008. And from 2008 onward, there were a lot of leaders level deliberations, a lot of working group level deliberations. And in fact, first 2 years, 2009, 2010, 11, two summits at leader level every year happened. But after 2011, things streamlined and it became an annual feature. Now, as you know, this year in this, I'll explain in my subsequent slide that we have a rotating presidency, and from December 1st, 2002, India has taken over as a presidency of the G20. Yeah. So why does G20 matter? I think this slides would actually give you some indication why G20 is so important. I already explained that this is a consensus-based intergovernmental grouping to coordinate policy action and global cooperation on major economic issues, and group of major developed and developing nations. So apart from those G7 countries, so within major developing economies consisting of BRICS economies, as well as other developing economies also became the part of the G20 process. So why does it matter? So if you see the my left-hand side of this slide, G20 consists of almost 85% of the global GDP, which is almost a major part of the global GDP. It consists of 75% of global trade and 2/3 of global population and 60% of the invest contribution to the GDP. So now you can very well imagine what is the clout of the G20. So I've been saying that it is a consensus-based forum. So one of the questions that might arise in your mind, if it is a consensus-based organization, and it is not a treaty-based organization, and the decision taken are not enforceable. So how does it matter? So considering this left-hand side of the presentation, so you see the political clout. Basically, if those leaders decide something, so in a way that decisions get more weight and be it at any international organization, IMF, World Bank. So in a way that put a lot of political weight on the decisions elsewhere in other organizations as well. So far, after 2008, when this was elevated to a leadership level, 17 G20 summits has already happened, and 18th we would be hosting the 18th G20 Leaders Summit in September this year, which would be hosted in New Delhi. So now I'll be telling you something about the structure. So what is the structure? So G20 has a rotating presidency. It doesn't have a permanent secretariat. So it's not like that there is a permanent secretariat anywhere in the world and it functions out of that secretariat. So G20 rotates every year. Each country basically take up the responsibility of hosting a G20 presidency, and whichever country takes on that responsibility, they set up a permanent, temporary G20 secretariat and coordinate the agenda setting process and convene the meeting. Another question which might arise, if there is no permanent structures, then what about the continuity? So I can basically, how does it link to the another presidencies? How are agenda carried forward? So there is a system called Troika. Troika consists of the presidency. Suppose India is a presidency this year, and we also take along the previous presidency. Indonesia was presidency last year, and next presidency, which is Brazil. So 3 presidency actually work in tandem so that there is a continuous chain of countries basically taking forward the agenda so that there is ownership when it goes to the next presidency. Now, how does those presidency get decided? There is a system which is very complicated, but I'll try to explain. There are 5 bucket system basically. The buckets are decided based on the region. Suppose the American region, they consist of 1 bucket, Asian region would be another bucket, European would be 3rd bucket. So from presidency actually is picked from or decided from each of these bucket every year. So this is how it happens. So this is basically a graph, a slide on the membership. So we have given the flags of the members country. These are the regular 19 countries plus European Union. So that's how it makes 20. So now the right-hand side, I'm trying to show the three presidency, basically Troika system. Indonesia held it in 2022, 23 we are presidency, and Brazil would be having it in 2024. So this, what does this trifecta actually tells you about? So this tells you about a very interesting fact that till now, most of the presidencies have been hosted by the developed countries. So now this is a sequence of presidencies which would be hosted by emerging economy. India hosted it. India is next. India is hosting this year. Brazil, and then South Africa would be next, but that's not yet officially declared yet. But a lot of actually the presidencies are continuously going to be hosted by the emerging market economies. So I already explained this. This is basically the composition. There are 20 countries, and is it about 20 countries alone? No. Apart from the 20 countries, because if countries come together, they deliberate something, so they don't have anything implementing arm. So how does decisions get implemented, or what happens to the recommendations? So all those major international player or international organization, they are invited to the G20 countries. So be it IMF, World Bank, FSB, OECD, WTO, UN, ILO, FATF, BIS, UNCTAD, WHO, they are almost permanent. They're always invited to the G20 meetings. Apart from that, it also depends upon the country to country. So they also tend to invite certain regional regional players or regional organizations, like for us ASEAN, and then New Development Bank is this time invitee from our side, and African Union. All those organizations are invited depending upon the presidency, who is the presidency. And then apart from this, there are also invitee countries. Like I told you about 19 plus EU, those are 20. But apart from that, there are certain countries who are invited to the G20 presidency. One of the permanent invitee is Spain. One fact which you might notice here that EU, there are countries also represented from the EU region. So EU is fairly good representation, basically. EU as a whole is represented by EU, then France, Germany, Italy. They are always a permanent member of the G20 country. In addition to this, Spain is almost regularly invited to the G20 processes. Apart from that, then it depends upon the country to country. Like we have invited many other countries, Bangladesh, Morocco, and Egypt, so many countries. In fact, we have invited 13 more countries this time. So the number is really big. So this slide basically sums up the working structure of G20. So now G20 has two parallel structures. So at the top level, what happens, as I told you, there are summits. Summits are usually at leaders level. So leaders would converge at place, they would discuss the issues confronting the global economy. So now below that, how does G20 operate? So G20 is broadly divided into two parallel structure. One structure is coordinated by finance ministers and central bank governors. So we call it finance track. Another track we call Sherpa track. So there is a term called Sherpa. Sherpa is usually a leader's representative. So Sherpa track is coordinated by Sherpa. Under the finance track, hardcore financing issues are dealt. Sherpa track more or less develop with the developmental issues, as is evident from the working structure. So under finance track, we have around 8 working group or work stream. We call it framework working group, which deals with the macroeconomic imbalances, balances, or macroeconomic issues. Then there are financial architecture related issues, which are dealt in the financial architecture working group. Then there is this infrastructure working group. This is important because Pune is hosting this first meeting of the infrastructure working group on 16th and 17th, as my colleague Mr. Solomon mentioned in his introductory remarks. Apart from that, there are global partnership for financial inclusion. We recently hosted this meeting in Kolkata. There is a sustainable working group, which deals with all those climate financing and sustainable financing related issues. And of late, basically, a joint forum was created to discuss financing, health financing related issues. So we call it Joint Finance and Health Task Force. So these are regular working groups. Apart from that, there are other issues like international taxation is also debated under the finance track. And there are financial sector issues which are mostly dealt under the finance. So this is what is channelized or coordinated by Ministry of Finance. A working group level, so this process is entirely, this culminates at the finance minister's level. On the other side, so there are various thematic issues like you see agriculture, anti-corruption, digital economy, employment, health, trade, investment, environment, and energy, tourism, and women empowerment. So these working groups are spread across various ministries in Government of India. While Ministry of Finance handle entire thing on this left-hand side of the slide, second, on the other side of the presentation, all these working groups are spread across various ministries in Government of India. I'm talking about Government of India. And this is coordinated by Sherpa. So both these Sherpa and finance track, when it culminates at the respective level, finance minister and Sherpa level, and then the inputs goes to the leaders. And finally, when leaders summit happen, a leaders declaration is prepared based on inputs from both these tracks, and then leaders usually sign a leaders declaration. And is G20 about all these tracks? No, perhaps there is another system which we called engagement groups. Though these are government to government level engagement, there is a provision for civil society organizations also to meet, civil society organization of the G20 country. We call them engagement groups. So they are 8 to 10 engagement group, like Think 20, all the academic institutions, they converge, they almost mirror the G20 structure. The way we do it in the government system, civil society organization also have the presidency system, have the troika system, and they also have these frequent meetings. Then there is a business 20, which are basically the chambers of commerce, confederation, industry confederation, and then labor 20, labor organization, civil 20, women 20, science 20, youth 20, urban 20, startup 20. There are many others also. So they mirror the government system, these two tracks, and follow the same system of presidency and deliberation. And their recommendations basically goes to the Sherpa. They submit their recommendation to the Sherpa, and Sherpa, depending upon the relevance, they actually then they take the next course. Yeah, so this is broadly the working process. So if you see from the bottom, so when a country assume a presidency, what does happen? First task is to come out with the agenda. What is it that we are going to discuss during the presidency? So agenda setting is the first step. So when we started our presidency, in fact, prior to one and a half years prior to that, we started this consultation process, agenda setting process. And once we were through with the agenda was announced at the leadership level, and we formally assumed our presidency, we started with meetings. The first layer of meetings are working group level meetings. So working group level meetings are technical discussion where all nitty-gritties of the agenda, deliverables, they are discussed. So usually in one working group in a year, 3 to 4 working group meetings are held. Then once these meetings conclude, or even simultaneously also, those feedbacks actually goes into the next level. So next level, there are two different structures. So under the finance track, which is the Ministry of Finance agenda, so there is a next level is the Secretary to Government of India level. We call it deputies. So the input goes to deputies. Deputies discuss it, and they further the inputs further goes to the ministerial level. So there is this process that is followed. While on the Sherpa side, so there is no deputies level channel, particularly. In some places it might be there, but usually working group level inputs directly feeds into the ministerial communique. So usually ministerial also under finance track, 3 to 4 ministerial meeting happen. Under Sherpa track, just one ministerial meeting is organized during the presidency. And then when the ministerials and ministerial level communiques are out, those feedback then feed into the leaders communication. Finally, leaders summit happen for 1 or 2 days once during a presidency, and that's almost the culmination of the presidency, which happened toward the end of the presidency. So so obvious question might arise, what is it that G20 has done so far? What is the relevance? So I think the first very important, I started with this this thing, saying that the leaders level this thing, elevation of the G20 forum happened in 2008. So when this forum was elevated and the G20 began its this thing, work at full steam, so the coordination basically, so the G20 coordinated in a very effective manner, and you can make it out from the kind of money that was injected to the tune of 1.1 trillion package was coordinated by through the G20 efforts. It might have come in a different manner, but that entire effort was worth this. And then during COVID, which we all recall, basically during COVID also G20 played a very, very critical role. And role was in terms of mobilizing resources and development of vaccine. And in fact, in this context, some institutions were also set up, like Financial Intermediary Fund has been set up under the World Bank, which would be working for the future pandemic preparedness and response in future. Likewise, G20 also plays a very important role in terms of providing emphasis and providing political weight to achieve the sustainable development goals. Another set of achievement would be institution building. Financial Stability Board was established in 2009, mainly because of the G20's initiative. And this board actually works for the financial stability across world. Then another initiative which again actually happened during the COVID period. What happened that COVID period, low income countries, they were the countries hit hardest by the COVID, and they ended up this thing, in a difficult situation wherein they had a lot of obligations in terms of this thing, COVID-related expenditure, and they had the debt servicing burden. So G20 countries came together. They came up with this initiative called Debt Service Suspension, wherein the debt servicing was postponed by some period. So this was another, I think, major major achievement. Then IMF has a system of allocating some resources. So in the wake of this COVID, so another political weight of the G20 was utilized to get this allocation done. Then I think most significant achievement of the G20 would be on the taxation front. So what happened that in the taxation, usually the corporates would actually try to, so it's a general listing, it's a general understanding that wherever there are taxation rates are less, so people would tend to shift without this thing, So what happens that wherever the income is being generated, taxes were not going to those economies. And this became a big issue. So IMF, so G20, as you know, it doesn't have a permanent secretariat. G20 mandated the OECD to work on this issue. So OECD now has a inclusive framework of G20 consisting 135 countries that works on taxation related issues. So so they come out with this base erosion and profit shifting principles, wherein certain protocols are set up and countries are supposed to provide information, automatic exchange of information, so which actually helps in a way the tax evasion. So this was a most significant achievement of the G20. In case any one of you are interested in knowing about this, I think you should read the OECD's inclusive framework, which is very, very comprehensive. So very briefly, I'll touch upon the G20 presidency. So in the G20, as I told, so our overall development of agenda, it was guided by certain principles. So when we were developing agenda, first approach was that agenda has to be people-centric. And then agenda has to reflect the concerns of the low income and developing countries, because we are an emerging economy. So we thought that we should take care of the common interests of the low and middle income economy. But can this approach only this thing fly? No, because G20 is a mixed forum, so it consists of all developed countries, developing economies. So another principle was global relevance. It has to be relevant to all developing countries, developed countries. So this was another principle which we guided with when we were doing our agenda setting. Another was the continuity part of it. Whatever has happened in the past, all the relevant issues, they have to be taken forward. So we had to strike a very fine balance, which all area are relevant to be taken forward, and what would be the new issue which we can offer to the world. So usually this happen as a lot of intensive consultation. So we cannot decide agenda on our own. So we have to consult. First of all, we have to have the adequate capacity, basically. So domestic consultation, we consulted a lot of think tanks, a lot of experts when we were evolving our agenda. Then we consulted the G20 countries also on the agenda. So this is how the agenda setting has shaped up during our presidency. And one more important fact, because I told you that apart from G20, we are inviting 13 other countries, international organizations. So this times in the summit, we will be having 43 head of the delegation, which was going to be the largest, I think, ever since it was elevated to leaders level. So I'm sure you are very much familiar with this logo. So our logo is a very unique one, which draws its inspiration from vibrant colors of India's national flag, which is saffron, white, green, and blue. And it juxtaposes planet Earth with lotus, India's national flower, that reflect spirituality, fruitfulness, wealth, knowledge, and illumination. And 7 petals signifies 7 seas, 7 countries coming together for the G20 India 2023. So basically it's very, very relevant for this G20 gathering. And the Earth reflects India's pro-planet approach to life, one in perfect harmony with nature. So now I think a linked slide is the theme. Theme is equally interesting. So it comes from our Maha Upanishad text. So theme is Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, which translates into one earth, one family, and one future. So what does it signify? The theme reaffirms the value of life. Human, animal, plant, microorganism, and their interconnectedness on the earth, on the planet Earth, and its wider universe. I think this is the most, the wider I have not seen any logo which encapsulate any the universe or universe in this and completeness. The theme also spotlights life, which is lifestyle for environment. Environment is a major focus during our presidency. Environmentally sustainable and responsible choices leading to globally transformative action, resulting in a cleaner, greener, and bluer future. So our theme basically, so I must encourage particularly students to read more about the theme and logo. And we have a G20 website, and the domain name would be g20.org. So you can visit the website. You will find a lot of information on the G20 day. I think I have already overshot my time. I'll just try to rush through the slides. So these are the major focus area during our presidency. One is green development, climate finance, lifestyle for environment, which actually a lot of emphasis is here on the sustainability. Then accelerated, inclusive, and resilient growth, which actually takes care of our MSME sector, trade, labor rights, social sectors. Then accelerating growth on sustainable development goal. I already told you that one of the focus of the G20 is sustainable development goal. And India's presidency actually lay a major emphasis on the achievement of sustainable development goals. Then technical transformation and digital infrastructure transformation. India has actually made a lot of strides in digital public infrastructure transformation. So we have a lot to offer to the word on the digital infrastructure. So this is also figuring in a big way as a major agenda during the India's presidency. Multilateral institution, because multilateral institution, as you know, they started long back. So what kind of transformation, what kind of discussion can be taken forward? This is another agenda. Then social part of it, women-led development is very important part of our presidency. So now another aspects of presidency is that we want to, leadership has been very clear that it has to be the people's G20 presidency, and the very fact that these events are actually happening, we are connecting with students, we are connecting with civil society. This is basically to create this awareness that G20 is a very important event. It happens after 20 years, and let's involve everybody in this process. So throughout year, we would be having close to 200 meetings, and these meetings are spread across 55 to 56 cities. So we are showcasing India in a big way. We are taking delegates, international delegates, to nook and corner of our country to give them a truly Indian experience. Another significant coincidence is that we are also beginning with our Amrit Kal, the 25-year beginning from 75th anniversary of our independence and leading up to the centenary of Indian independence. So this is not for entire presidency, this is for our finance ministry meeting. So this is a spread. So we are having all our meeting in these cities. So I think without wasting much time, I'll just jump to the next slide, which is probably my last slide as well. So why this engagement for this thing, with student? So we already had an event in Kolkata. There also a big gathering of students actually attended this program. Here also, I believe, apart from the gathering here, so there are a lot of people, a lot of students are connected through the internet also. India's focus, as I told, so skill development, future of work, all these futuristic agenda are major focus. So because students are the stakeholder of the future, so you must be knowing what is happening at the international stage. So this is a unique opportunity to sensitize youth. In fact, one of the engagement group, which I mentioned in my previous slide, one of the engagement group is Youth 20, and its meeting is happening in Guwahati next month. So youths have a very, very important role to play. Please explore in what way you can contribute, see what is Youth 20 and what its role, what has it done during the previous presidencies. And finally, you are the agent for change in the world. So I'll not go into the acronym. I think you can read it out. But students and younger generations have a lot of stakes in the development and the next generation. So I think very important to engage with you. I urge you to please generate interest. Please read about G20. Please follow what is happening. Please go to our social media handle at the G20 Ministry of Finance. Visit our websites, because website keep giving you a lot of updates daily basis what is happening on the G20 front. So these are the events which has happened. So right and left are the I think pictures from the Kolkata, and center one is from Pune, wherein Pune Municipal Corporation organized a very big run basically to create awareness about G20. I think this is what I had to present. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for sharing a lot of information about the structure of G20, its working, the significance of G20 theme, among other things. Thank you so much. We now proceed with the lecture on Making Cities Future Ready by Srimati Shalini Aggarwal, Municipal Commissioner, Surat.
A very good afternoon to all of you. It's my honor and privilege to be here amongst all of you. We are living in a world where urbanization is growing at a very fast pace. Today in the world, around 4 billion people are living in the cities, and that's 55% of the population in the world is living in the city. 2007 was a landmark year in the sense that in 2007, as per United Nations estimate, the number of urban people overtook number of people living in rural areas. So urbanization is not a very old event. It is something which has been happening in last 100 years. Before 100 years, around 90% of the population was living in rural areas, and now 55% population is living in urban areas. And as per estimates of 2050, around 66% of the population will live in urban areas. So urban areas will be the center of growth all over the world, but in all over world, this urbanization is not symmetric, it is asymmetric. If I talk about North America, 82% people live in urban areas, where in sub-Saharan African countries, 38% people live in urban areas. So these are the two extremes, and in these two extremes, there are other countries like Latin America, Europe, Australia, which has urban population more than 70%, and Asia, where 48% people live in urban areas. Now, the project estimates are there, population estimates are there, which shows that most of the urbanization will take place in Asia and Africa. And by 2050, 90% of population growth in urbanization will take place in Africa and Asia. As Solomon sir has already told that G20 contribute to two-thirds of population and 80% of GDP, where in all over world, the land which is captured by urban areas is just 3% of global land. So I'm giving these figures so that you can have an idea that the density will be too high, there will be concentration of population in few areas, the challenges will be enormous. I would like to emphasize that in top 10 most populous cities of the world, 2 cities from India figure. That is Delhi and Mumbai. Tokyo is the most populous city with a population of 37 million population, and Delhi is the second most populous city in the world. Mumbai is the 8th most populous city in the world. So I would like to say that India is the second most urbanized country in the world, and India, China, and Nigeria. These 3 countries will account for 35% of urban population growth in all over the world between 2018 and 2050. That means that India will have a major challenge in terms of addressing needs of people and businesses in the city. India is aspiring to be one of the fastest growing economy in the world. By 2026, the economy size is expected to grow to $5 trillion economy. And by 2047, when India will complete 100 years of independence, the size of the economy of India will be $40 trillion economy. And the estimate is that the population of India is currently, it is second largest urban community in the world. Currently, 461 million people are living in the cities. The annual growth rate of urban population in India is 2.3%. Between 1970 to 2022, the urban population has increased 4-fold, that is 4 times. And by 2050, 416 million people will be added in the urban cities. So 2050, 50% of population of India will reside in urban areas. And when India is aspiring to be the fastest and the biggest economy in the world, 80% of national income of India in 2050 will come from urban areas. Currently, in India also, the land which is occupied by urban population all over the country is 3.5%. And currently the contribution to the GDP is 60%. So these figures shows that if any country in the world has to be the fastest growing economy in the world, in the coming years, one will have to take care of urban infrastructure and urban development in the country. In India also, if you see, 75% of urban population live in 10 states. So we have 33 states, out of which 75% of the population of urban population is living in 10 states. And we are in Maharashtra today. So Maharashtra lead in that. Maharashtra has got the highest urban population in the country. And Goa is the highest urbanized state in terms of percentage. And in Northeast, Mizoram is the highest percentage state in Northeast. That means that in India also, there is asymmetric distribution of population within the states and among the states. So as per the growth of urban population in different states and different areas, one will have to distribute resources among the states and within the state, keeping in consideration the growth rate of urban population in those areas. The Sustainable Development Goal of United Nations, 11 number goal, it emphasizes on urban planning for sustainable development. And it says that urban cities have to be safe, prosperous, resilient, and sustainable. And all over the world, now, all the countries are focusing on sustainable, resilient, and prosperous cities for future growth of the country. In India, Honorable Prime Minister has quoted once in his speech, and I would like to quote, that urbanization should be treated as an opportunity and not as an obstruction. And we have to provide world-class infrastructure in the cities that further ease of living in the cities. Now, how the development has to take place? Should it take place in mega cities? Or should it take place in hinterlands or agglomerations? Or should it take place in tier 2 or tier 3 city? I think that it has to take place in all over the categories which I have just described. So all mega cities, hinterlands, agglomerations, and tier 2 and tier 3 cities, they have to be taken care along with each other. I am talking about future-ready cities. So how a future-ready city has to be? Future-ready city has to take care of its core infrastructure. The city needs to take care of aspirations of people and businesses. The city needs to take care of development with sustainability. And all these things need to take place through technology, innovation, and smart solutions. So a city has to be smart, sustainable, resilient, and prosperous. Those will be future-ready cities. Mostly, this population growth is due to 3 factors. One is the natural birth rate. Second is migration from rural areas to urban areas for employment. And third, better opportunities in the city in terms of education, health, and quality of life. So basically, human capital in the city is leading for population growth, which ultimately results into financial capital or financial growth of the city. We are fortunate that in India, 74th Amendment in the Constitution in 1993 involved people participation in planning, monitoring, and implementation of projects in urban areas. And that was the first time that urban local bodies were created. The three-tier structure of urban local bodies were created. They were given financial, administrative, and planning powers. And those bodies have been consistently, successfully working all over India for development of urban areas in the country. Now, as I have discussed, that the population growth will be too high in the city, it will lead pressure on infrastructure. That includes physical infrastructure. It will lead pressure, it will be pressurizing more on social infrastructure. And when development comes, we need to take care that we are protecting our environment also. So all these things need to be taken care of. I'll just take some time to deliberate upon the areas in urban cities which need to be taken care if we are planning for future ready cities. So we have population estimates of 2050. This is the time that we have to plan for our urban infrastructure. And the most important thing is public transport. Because when we are talking about agglomeration, we are talking about hinterland, we want people to communicate faster, at a faster speed from one area to another. And that is why now the government is focusing on lots of multi-modal hub projects. That means that from one end to last mile connectivity, there has to be a link among all public transport avenues. So if you land at airport, there has to be metro or BRTS. It should connect you with e-rickshaws or e-buses, and then at your doorstep, it should connect with public bicycle or e-bicycles. That means from one point to another point, you must have some kind of public transport to fulfill your connectivity. So now, future ready cities will have to have multi-modal connectivities which are interconnected. Secondly, we have to keep in mind that when we are talking of public transport, this mobility has to be clean mobility. We have to protect our environment also. So these days, lots of sustainable initiatives are taking place, like city buses are being converted into electric buses. And I am from Surat. We have already converted 150 electric buses, and the whole lot of diesel buses will be converted into electric buses by 2030. The second clean mobility initiative may be electric vehicles. Electric charging stations, their depots, the infrastructure for electric vehicles need to be created in the cities for two-wheelers, three-wheelers, and four-wheelers in a larger sense. And this is the time that every city should start in this area to provide infrastructure for e-vehicles. Third is non-motorized transport, which include cycling and pedestrian. In Surat, we have 18% of non-motorized transport, but in lots of cities have less than 1% of non-motorized transport. This is the time that we have to focus on public bicycle sharing mechanisms. We need to have footpath, we need to have zebra crossing, foot-over bridges, where people can walk freely and safely along the roads. This public transport needs to be monitored through technology. So I had talked that smart city will be the cities which will be using lots of technology for their project implementation, for planning, and for monitoring. Like Intelligent Transport Management System, ITMS, gives everything on your computer wall. Sitting in your office, you can monitor which bus is going where, how many passengers are there, how many passengers have given their ticket fare, which stops did the bus stay, for how many minutes did the bus stay. So everything is available on your screens, and you can monitor public transport through CCTVs and through intelligent software systems. But now, because of cost effectiveness and because of lack of human resources, and because corporations are dealing with lots of different sectors, there is a need to converge technology at one point where you can monitor and implement all of your projects through one command and control center. The second most important point in urban infrastructure is water supply. Every house has to have a tap connectivity, clean and potable water. And for that, lots of investment needs to be taken up in terms of water treatment plants, lines. New areas are getting merged in corporation areas or municipalities. New villages and new municipalities are getting added into corporation areas. So the infrastructure for water supply in terms of population growth need to be augmented, upgraded, and the new infrastructure needs to be made. The third important point is sewerage. The city is not clean if you don't have a sewage connection at your home, and if the sewage water is not discharged properly. And now, as per NGT guidelines also, gradually every city needs to stop discharge of water directly into water bodies like river, lakes, and ponds. They need to put in mechanisms for treatment of water, and that needs lots of investment, planning, and implementation. But the cities need to do it if they want to give a clean environment to people. The most important point in this is that we need to reuse and recycle this sewage treated water. Surat Municipal Corporation, fortunately, is doing for last so many years. We are supplying this sewage treated wastewater to industries, textile industries, and power generating industries, which gives us revenue of 140 crores annually to the corporation. The recycled water, sewage treated water, should be used for gardening, should be used for plantations along the roads, dividers, construction, metro construction, tunneling. But this is the time that lots of emphasis should be done on optimal use of water and also proper use of reuse of recycled water. Physical infrastructure like roads, bridges, flyovers, footover bridges, parking spaces. I think that parking is going to be a major challenge for all the cities to cope up with. And now lots of initiatives are being taken in terms of multi-level parking, in terms of shared mobility, in terms of common pool vehicles like that. But these initiatives need to be taken up in big way and in sustained way. Sanitation is one of the major focus for urban population, because the kind of quantum of waste which is generated into cities is enormous. And if it is not taken into account through scientific and comprehensive methods, I think that it will lead cities into a very bad shape. We need to adopt zero waste management approach. Like, no waste is waste. Everything which we take as waste should be converted into some kind of a useful project. So every house, and it is possible only when every house segregates its waste. That's the first point. If you are not segregating your waste, and if everything is getting dumped into one place, landfilling site or MRD facilities, the waste which is being processed at MRD centers or landfill site, it is not 100% scientifically mechanized waste process. It is possible, zero waste management is possible only and only every individual and every household segregates its waste into wet and dry, where wet is composted and dry waste is then categorized into different kinds of recyclables and non-recyclables, and then those things are processed further. Every corporation and every city needs to take care of construction and demolition waste because lots of construction work goes in the city. Biomedical waste, which is being generated through hospitals and maternity homes and different and industrial waste. And nowadays, the major challenge is to deal with e-waste. And by 2050, the quantum of e-waste will be too high that it will again lead to one of the most polluting factor in the city and in the country if we don't take care of e-waste properly. The cities not only looks after physical infrastructure, but they also look after health, education, skill development, and sports, cultural, and other aesthetic aspects also. So when we are looking for future-ready cities, the cities will have to make plan for free education to children, free health facilities to women and children, to senior citizens. Primary health should be free for all. And at the same time, if we modernize our health systems, if we outsource it through PPPs, then we can provide more facilities to people at reasonable cost. But all these things should be looked after by the urban local bodies. Also, we need to provide a good environment in the cities, especially recreational spaces. I think that everybody who's sitting in this auditorium, they must be looking for some parks or gardens or some green spaces where they would love to jog, walk, or do their recreational activities. So these are fulfilled by urban local bodies. We need to have auditoriums, science centers, aquariums, parks, zoos, lakes, and all of these things add to quality of life. So no city can ignore in development of recreational spaces. When we talk about lots of facilities are being provided by urban local bodies and people have to pay, then I would propose that there has to be a single money card which every citizen has, which can be used by every citizen for BRTS. The same card can be used for metro. The same card can be used for city bus. The same card can be used for e-bike. The same card for public bicycle. The same card for the entry in the science center. The same card for your fulfillment of property tax, your water charges, sewage charges, any other charge which your urban local body is taking from you. The same card should be used across all the facilities, across all kinds of license fees, user charges fees, or any other kinds of fees. We have introduced in Surat, which is known as Surat Money Card, and people can use this card not only for the corporation facilities, but also for another private facility, like if they're going for a mall or a shop or a theater, the same money card can be used everywhere. So such kind of citizen-centric payment facilities need to be developed by corporations. We have to take care of all the sectors across the city, whether poor, disadvantaged, skilled, non-skilled, senior citizens, women, children, disabled, etc. So when we are planning for our overall urban planning, we need to take all of these sectors into our planning, and accordingly, we have to do our planning. Now I would talk about finances, because if you are planning for lots of things, I think that almost everything in the city, you need finances. The major source of finances in urban local bodies are Can anybody tell from where the urban local body collect their finance? What is the major source of revenue for them? I would like to ask students. The property tax is the major source of revenue. Second is other user charges like water charges, sewerage charges, education cess, like that. Third is grants from state government and central government. Now, corporations are looking innovative solutions to have funds from different resources, like municipal bonds. Have anybody heard of municipal bonds? Has anybody heard of government bonds? Has anybody heard of bonds floated by company? So as a corporate company goes to the market and floats the bond and asks private people to invest into their company, the same way now municipal corporations go to the market, they float bonds, and then private investors are asked to invest in their project, and the company or the investor which gives the lowest coupon rate, he is or she is subscribed to that bond. So municipal bonds are new to India. In United States of America, the history of municipal bonds by urban local bodies has been through 200 years, more than 200 years. But for last 10-15 years, now Government of India, along with Ministry of Finance and Ministry of Urban Development, have made regulations easy, and which are easy for corporations, where they can go to the market and they can tell investors to invest money into their projects. Recently, we floated, when I was Municipal Commissioner Vadodara before this, we floated a bond of 100 crores. And I'm happy to say that it was oversubscribed by 10 times, which was the highest in India so far. And we got lowest coupon rate in India, that was 7.15, and that bond was floated in when COVID was going on, Ukraine-Russia war was going on, and there was a global economic recession. So my point is that if a corporation is doing well, if a corporation has got a good credit rating, now people are willing to invest in the projects of corporation. So one needs to reform governance, one needs to make processes transparent, one needs to make these things available on public domain for people, so that it gives credibility to the corporations, and then you will find that there are more and more people who are willing to invest in your project. Then we have a DEA, Department of Economic Affairs is with you. We have multilateral financial institutions like World Bank, Asian Development Bank, International Finance Corporation, like that, who invest or who give loan or other kind of financial assistance to municipal corporation. Fortunately, for last few years, in India also, there has been increased representation of urban local bodies in multilateral financial institutions, and now urban local bodies are getting good finance from multilateral financial institutions. The other approach to implement this project is PPP. Do students know what is PPP? That's public-private partnership. So you cannot invest into every project, but as I have told that the era of the wide variety of projects which you have to implement, I think that you need to involve private partners or public in terms of capital investment, technology investment, innovative solution in terms of innovative solutions, or in terms of operation and maintenance of your projects. So when you are creating infrastructure, it is for long term, and one needs to manage those infrastructure. At the same time, they give benefit to private partners and people in large. So you have to keep a balance between private partners, all the stakeholders, and public at large. These are few new avenues which urban local bodies are exploring if they want to be Atmanirbhar, or if they want to be self-reliant in terms of finances. When we talk about implementation of these projects, the first thing is land. You need to have, urban local bodies need to have land for implementation of these projects. So I think that planning of land use and zoning of land is very crucial for urban local bodies. This is the high time that urban local bodies should start making plans for their land use, making zones of their land use, and making land banks which is readily available to them for implementation of their projects. Town planning schemes, development plans, these are few areas which need to be aggressively taken up by urban local bodies if they are looking for bigger investment, bigger infrastructure projects in their cities. Last but not the least, technology is going to play a major role in terms of governance in the cities. I have already talked about ICCC, that is Integrated Command and Control Center, where you can monitor your all the schemes through GPS or GIS-based mappings, through softwares, hardwares, and it is one smart solution where you can keep on improving your systems and projects which are put on ground. I would just give one example, that PM Gati Shakti. It integrates all the departments on one platform. Like if you are looking for any permission, like if you want to lay a sewage line or a water supply line, now you have to go to every department physically and you have to ask NOC physically from every department. So it delays your project, it overruns the cost, and also the efficiency of the project is compromised. In PM Gati Shakti, every department has mapped its own infrastructure through GIS-based mapping, GPS-based mapping, and now you need not go to every department. The NOCs will be available online. So the process has made implementation of the projects simplified. So this is just one example that how technology can be used to implementation of the project. Artificial intelligence is going to be a major hand-holding technology for the corporations. One just small example, corporations has got a huge number of lands which are scattered in the whole city. Now it's not possible for the corporations to make boundary walls along all the plots because it has lots of cost implications. The simplest method is that you install CCTV which has AI technology. So if there is any movement in the plot, you can identify, the alert comes to you and you can take immediate action. It gives you daily reports, it tells you about encroachments, temporary encroachments or permanent encroachments. So artificial intelligence is going to be a major technology hand-holding for corporations. Blockchain, metaverse, I think these are going to be the future of world, and again corporations have started using these technology for the implementation of project. The last topic today which I will cover is very close to my heart, which is sustainability. Because when we talk about development, I think that somehow the environment should not be compromised. When we talk that 70% of GDP comes from urban population in the world, I would like to say that 2/3 of global energy is also consumed by urban areas. 72% of greenhouse gas emission is also done in urban areas. Sustainability is about ecology, economy, and equity. If you think that economy is more important than environment, then try holding your breath when you count your money. I think nobody can do that. So it's not about protecting the environment. It is about creating an environment where environment does not need protection. It is automatically protected. Sustainable development goal 13, 14, and 15, it talks about climate action. 14, which is life above Earth, and 15, which is about life below Earth. We don't inherit Earth from our ancestors. We have taken it as a loan from our children, which we have to repay and we have to give back to our children. We don't want grand heroic actions in environment protection. We want very simple actions which are taken by billions of people will transform the world. Simple actions like don't litter, it makes the world bitter. Don't throw food, it is like stealing food from table of poor people and hungry people. Plant more trees. If plants would have given you Wi-Fi signals, I am sure that we would have planted more number of trees, but unfortunately they don't do. But in COVID, we have realized the importance of oxygen, and I think that this is the high time that we need to take care of plantation. 3 R's are very important, as I have already talked, zero waste management. Reduce, reuse, and recycle. We need to take care of this plastic. Either don't use it, or wherever it is being used, we need to recycle it and reuse it. In Surat, we have made 22 kilometers of road last year by recycling of plastic waste in plastic waste management plant. Also, we are using this plastic we are also every day making benches and chairs through the use of 20 metric ton plastic. So recycle and reuse it or don't use it. Conserve water. Everybody in this world is a consumer of water, and water is going to be one of the major scarcity in the world. Please have rainwater harvesting structure wherever you live. Where is the house, shop, school, college, university, office, industry, please have rainwater harvesting structure. Recycle and reuse of water. As I've already told that Surat Municipal Corporation is using and selling 30% of TWW water, treated wastewater. We have a plan that by 2030, this will be increased up to 70%. And by 2050, 100% water in Surat Municipal Corporation will be reused and recycled and reused. Green energy, we need to focus on wind, solar, and gas-based energy. Surat Municipal Corporation generates 28% of its energy consumption from green initiatives. SMC has invested in far desert areas of Gujarat, the famous Kutch district, where SMC has invested money into wind power. And the energy credit which are being received in this wind power, we are using it in Surat Municipal Corporation's project in Surat. Also, lots of initiatives in solar power plants and individual solar rooftop have been taken by SMC in Surat city, and I'm proudly saying that Surat is the largest city in not only in Gujarat but in the country where highest number of solar rooftop have been installed on individual houses, individual offices, and individual premises. Also, when we talk about zero waste management, the waste needs to be converted into electricity or energy. I was talking about sewage-based sewage treatment plants where when you treat sewage water, methane gas is generated, and across the country, you burn or you flare up that methane gas. But in SMC, we are using that methane gas to generate electricity, which again gives credit for our projects. So right now, 20% of consumption, 28% of consumption comes from green energy, which will be 33% by 2026. E-mobility, which I have already talked about, non-motorized transport, which I have already talked about. So these are the few small steps which can be taken by million and billion of citizens. The world is changed by our examples, not by our opinions. So if we can put in our action into any way, I think this will lead to big actions in the country. Sustainability has to be a way of life. We are fortunate that we are the citizens of India. India has a bright future in the world because it will be the biggest economy in 2050, and urbanization is going to play a very big role in the growth of economy of India, which will take India to one of the biggest economy in the world. So urbanization is an opportunity, and we need to take care urbanization in a very planned, systematic, and sustainable way. I would specially thank DA to take up this topic and to make people aware about this, which will go a long way in India's growth. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for making us aware of the importance of making cities future ready and how technology will play an active role, among other things. Thank you so much. May I now invite Shri Sanjay Grover, urban expert, Asian Development Bank, to give us a lecture on importance of urban development.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for inviting me to this event, and I'm thrilled to see you. It's very tough for me to follow up on an act as Ms. Shalini put forward all the information of the challenges of her job. For us, I work at the Asian Development Bank. I lead a program called Creating Investable Cities, where our focus is, of course, on helping cities across the world, across Asia, learn from each other, across planning, and Ms. Shalini laid out all the challenges of planning, across funding, as to how can cities actually sustain the funding to be able to support this, and the financing related to it. And for us, events like this are terrific opportunities to bring the G20, the multilateral development banks, and everybody else to create this atmosphere of shared learning across cities. And that's what we do even in the Creating Investable Cities program at the Asian Development Bank. I won't take more of your time. I'm sure a lot of you have questions. And so I will actually just open this up for questions that you may have for Ms. Shalini, for anybody else on the podium, or for me. And I'll open it up here. Thank you.
We'll have three quick questions, one from international student, one from girls and one from boys. Just three questions. We'll start with from international student. Before asking question, just, or we can start from any backside. Boys, yeah. Or you just can start it. Yeah. Only three questions. Yeah. Stand it.
Hello, my name is Emmanuel Elizabeth, and I'm from Seychelles Island. My question today is, like, we know that many things that are put before us does not require money, but it requires commitment and political will, and with the power of pen that we can impose as leaders. So my question is, most of the projects that are put by our leaders need supervision a lot. So I want to ask how the G20 leaders ensure supervision about many projects that are being put, so that there is trust between the government and the citizen also. And according to Ma'am, who said that about 68% of the people about the UNDP, about the Economic and Social Affairs Department, they say that 68% of the people will be living in urban population by 2050. So, and we stated that Africa and Asia is going to be one of the highest urban population in the world. So I want to ask, how does the G20, or how developing countries, especially India, They are calling other emerging countries to step up and to do likewise, especially the African and the Asian countries to step up, because this is our main issue right now for the sustainable goals of 2030.
Yeah, thank you very much. I don't know whether I can answer your question fully, but from the G20 perspective, I think, as I already told, G20 basically is a forum which coordinate policy action on major economic issue. Financing happens to be one of the important item in the G20 agenda. And as I told you during my presentation, for infrastructure financing, there is this entire working group where that actually deliberate on the various facets of infrastructure financing. So till now, what has happened that financing, the infrastructure has actually focused on a particular set of this thing, agenda, mostly the public-private partnership, hardcore infrastructure. During India's presidency, I think this is for the first time that we have concentrated on the agenda of urban infrastructure and cities particular. So when this thing, the deliberations start from Monday onward. So they'll go into the finer details of what are the this thing, financing models, mechanisms, sustainability aspects relating to the urban infrastructure. So that is one area. So I must say that India has realized that urbanization is big, an area which I think has not been deliberated and addressed in the G20 forum till now in the manner that we have taken up. So that partly, I think, the emphasis part of the G20 on the infrastructure, I think that gets captured there. On the hardcore flow of fund, as I told during my presentation, the G20 actually work with various, G20 on its own doesn't have any body for that matter. So G20 actually coordinates with a lot of multilateral financial institutions. So most of the multilateral institutions are invitees. So they are a part of the partner in the process of this thing, developing models and mechanisms for financing. So IMF, World Bank, regional organization, Asia Development Banks, whosoever they are this thing, financing for infrastructure. So when it comes to the infrastructure agenda during our presidency, I think a lot of these partners are already on the table, and the discussion would be taken forward. So I think I have this much only to add. I don't know whether I've answered your questions, but if my colleagues have any other points to add, I would request them also to add. Thank you.
Hello. Good afternoon, sir. I'm Siddharth. I'm a law student from ILS Law College, which is affiliated to Savitribai Phule Pune University. So my question is like very basic. So I have written it down so I can phrase it better. As ma'am correctly pointed out, that urban growth is very asymmetric. And SDG 10 that tells us that we have to reduce the inequality. So although this seems a very global issue, but that can be affected only locally. So in India too, urbanization suffers from segregation and on the basis of caste and religion. So basically one of the agenda of G20 is also inclusivity. So sadly, I forgot the exact name of the study, but one study says the more mixed communities suffers less from riots and all kinds of social problems we are facing, and they are better in developing themselves and society as a whole. So what I want to ask is basically, so what can state as an actor and G20 as an actor can do, especially from economic side, because we know socio-economic sides tend to release these kind of tensions in the communities and societies. And secondly, we have also seen that G20 and Asian Development Bank especially gives out financial aids for social marginalized communities. So in that front, can we do anything in that regard, because cities and slums cannot be neglected from one city for the development of better cities and better urbanization.
Let me try answering some of the raised. I mean, for us, and I was very thrilled when I walked in today. I mean, first I was a little bit annoyed that I can't get through, but that behind me, I'm actually so thrilled about this whole G20 agenda and what the DEA has been able to manage to do, or the India G20 presidency. One of the things that was put up there was people-centric, and I did not know what Jan Bhagidari means till I saw the people-centric aspect. And a lot of what Ms. Shalini said, you know, people can learn, but what has to come from within is the participatory planning. It is about people getting involved with the planning from a very early stage, and that makes planning better, and better planning makes financing. Overall, this is a circle, and at ADB, I mean, now we are making a very conscious effort to focus on gender, to focus on equity, focus on sustainability, to focus on inclusion. And all of these are elements which, again, it's our DMCs, it's our partner countries, which kind of focus or force us to start thinking. The efficiency of everything we do has to come from people. The participatory planning is really a very important component. There's no way Ms. Shalini can do her job if she doesn't have the people along with her to do it. There's no way DEA can do his job if he doesn't have municipalities working along with them. I'll stop there.
Last question from this is girls. Yes. Yeah.
Very first, I would like to thank all the dignitaries and the students present here for giving me the opportunity to ask the question. Hello, bonjour, hello, namaste, annyeonghaseyo. Hello everyone. I would like to thank all the students from the different parts of the country, from the different parts of the world. Sir, my question is very basic. I've been listening that the role of students is very important for G20. I would like to know what is the role of student and what I can do as a student for G20 and sustainable development and all the goals of G20. I would like to know that. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. I think, I don't know whether you paid attention to my last slide, so that's exactly what I told. So all the agenda, most of the agenda in G20, I think it is futuristic agenda. If you talk about sustainability, if you talk about climate, if you about skill, if you talk about future of work, so entire this thing, you know, so the future is basically is a big component. So as a student, I would tend to believe that you have a lot of stake by getting to know what is happening around the world, what is it that is being discussed at the global stage, so that you equip yourself in a better manner to prepare for future responsibility. I mean, today we are on the dais and tomorrow it would be your turn. So if you are prepared from right now, that gives you a good this thing, you know, this stage basically offer you a good platform to get to know about, because presidency will happen. I think it doesn't happen all the time, since it is being this thing, you know, hosted in India. So it offers you better chances to this thing, you know not only about this infrastructure working group, but various programs would be happening across the country. So you get to know about each and every dimension about the G20, what are the issues being discussed, what is it that is happening around the G20. This is one part. Then another very specific, in a specific manner, you can actually contribute. That also I touched upon. So G20, apart from the governmental level this thing, you know, engagement, G20 also have the mechanism for civil society, students, youth. So there is an engagement group called Youth 20. So it's basically a platform where you can just voice your concern. I would request you to read more about G20 if you want to be associated. Then see. I can't comment on it that whether you can directly get engaged engage with the process, but you can certainly explore if you want to submit your ideas. So I think that's the forum. And if you want more details, I think we will be more than happy to assist you, and you can always reach out to us. If you go to the DA website, our email IDs are displayed there. I will be definitely very happy to help, but you must read about U20 if you want to be contributing directly something in terms of your ideas, suggestions. I'm sure they'll welcome your written submissions. Thank you very much.
Thank.
We are behind the schedule and they have the other meetings in the city. Please, our sincere apologies. If you want to have a questions, please send the email. We'll definitely communicate it to you. Please, thank you. Before making a closing remarks by Honorable Vice Chancellor, His Excellency Governor Koshyari nominated Management Council member Sri Ravindra Chingnapurkar as a member of Management Council. I would request him to felicitate Honorable Vice Chancellor Professor K. Karbari Kale, sir, please. No. Sir, he is going to felicitate. Sir, तुम्हारा सत्कार करें. Just wait. Now I request former Vice Chancellor Professor Nitin Karmakar ji to felicitate newly appointed Management Council member on behalf of Savitribai. Please, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you. I request Honorable Vice Chancellor Professor Karbari Kale to make closing remarks. Thank you, sir.
Good afternoon to one and all. I understand that students are very much eager to raise the queries and questions, but already we are running behind the schedule, and so you please send us the SMS and email. Definitely the authority of the Government of India and the members would like to react to up to level of satisfaction. Well, the dignitaries on the dais, specifically from the Government of India, Shri Virender Singh ji, that is the advisor, Srimati Shalini Aggarwal madam, Shri Sanjay Grover, and other dignitaries. This event has been made successful and happens because of the Garzi, who has been visited various times in the universities and intended us to do such type of activities and program. My fellow colleague, Professor Vijay Khare, Pro Vice Chancellor Sonone, our Registrar, Professor Pawar, and the organizing committee G20 appointed by the Government of Maharashtra, that is Rajesh Pandey, newly nominated by the Honorable Governor, the Management Council member, Rajesh ji, various other dignitaries, ex-Vice Chancellor Karmakar, Dean of the universities, Senate members, head of the department, all other faculty members, HODs, media persons, and my dear student fellow members. Really, it gives an immense pleasure to me to be present here again for listening so many things from the government authorities. And I must thank the Government of India and Government of Maharashtra and the authority of the local authority that they should identify us and give us show us and thrust to be hold such type of very important program at the global institutes, that is G20 institutes, and specifically on the different aspect of the area that making the city's futures and various issues that the madam has already opened. Another important point, the Honorable Government and Central Government, Prime Minister Modi ji has a very much keen interest to initiate on this occasion of G20s and before that, that they had introduced the new National Education Policy 2020. One lady has asked what is the role of the youth. I think it is only the role of youth nowadays, hence onward, to make the world and to make the country more sustainable and more powerful. I would like to take another brief review in short, what we could do and what we cannot, and what are the challenges in front of us altogether, not for the India and from the other countries also. We as an academicians, nowadays coming along with the industries and various societies and even the government sector happens again in the new formation of the 20th century under NEP 2020. And there are plenty of the important issues and new avenues for the openers for the government as well as industries and all the people and for the society, and that of the higher education academic institution. I just narrate, I'm not going to discuss and not going to deliver the lecture. I just narrate what are the challenges and what are the opportunities in front of us in making this particular lecture, that is the making the city's future for ready. No doubt that the city is a more overwhelming mechanism to provide the sustainability and to provide the huge amount of the benefit toward the society and to the country. But ultimately, we can make the city more empowering, more powerful, more sustainable, but we should not forget to the rural also. As advice say, because of the major input like fruit, like basic labor, like so many important parameters coming from the rural. So while making the focus on the urban population and urbanization, we should not supposed to forget to making the empowerment and strengthening of the rural component also, in terms of transport, in terms of agriculture, in terms of decision making, in type their sustainability, in type of environment, and there are so many issues. So I just pinpoint what are the challenges in front of all for the urban as well as rural, for the whole globe universities and the countries also, that are the environmental change and environmental detection. Big issues because of in the agricultural sectors, in rural sector, a lot of things happen and beyond control of the humankind and beyond the control of the government. So there is an Indian need to have to develop such type of mechanism, in particular in the curriculum, how we can able to monitor and make the precision and make the alarm and consideration about the environmental change detections and environmental conditional mapping. This is the world issues. Then another important point that Madam had raised, that is the area for the technological development, land use and land cover. We have a lot of land. We have unfortunately the unplanned composition about the land cover and land use. How much land available? How much land is used for what purposes? For urbanization, what agriculture sector, and that is the biggest area in engineering and in development, particular of technology. That is one of the opportunity that we should. So these are the list I am going to present in front of you. These are the opportunities as well as challenges to take into the consideration for the higher education in terms of curriculum, in terms of research. So land use land management, that is the composition of the LULM, we called it as an geospatial technology for coverage of the land with the satellite data and mapping, and smart transportation, smart registration, a smart revenue generation system, and there are so many issues that we can resolve under the land management, land use composition. Then intelligent transport mechanism system is a big and challenging issue everyone is facing all over the world, and that too of the particular in developed country, and that too of the in India itself. And we have to develop some mechanism in terms of all, that is the smart transportation. So transportation is the biggest issue, and we should supposed to accommodate in the higher education component as a research and as an academic composition of the transformation. Similarly, transformation again not issue only in the urban, it has been become a challenge in the even though in rural also. So simultaneously transformation issue. Another important issue related to this, that is the health and healthcare. So we should able to provide before COVID and after COVID the composition of the technologies, that is about the health and healthcare. Healthcare means what are the composition, that we should know how to collect the data, how to analyze the data, how to interpret the data, how to making the drug designing. And the health is, there are so many challenging aspects, there are so many drug designing requirements that to require, and this is another important big area where we need to have to give the focus under the sustainable development and the country development, that is the health and healthcare. Another important issue that we need to identify, and it again everybody's scarcities and requirement, that is the food and food security. So there is a food, wastage of the food, and food is important. Which food is part of a healthy, nutritional food, conventional food, medicinal food, and that is again the biggest area in the pharmaceutical, medical, and even the engineering area to make an space authentic focus. There are food technology opportunities, food technology courses, but we need to revisit and revamp this particular composition in the higher education in the different ways. That is the food and food technology and food security. Another important point to maintain the social structures and conflict and between, even though in the rural and the urban, that are the cyber security and human security. There are so many rivers and there are so many things happen around by you and me, and we need to have the humanistical branch of the higher education to prevent such type of mechanism, to develop some psychological model, and we have to supposed to give some input to the people how to protect and how to preserve. Not happen only in India, in other countries also such type of rivers and such type of things happen. So that is another important area for security, human security, cyber security, cryptocurrency, crypto security. These are the another challenging important component which we need to suppose to identify. And for that, one law student has asked, and in 2 months back, I had addressed in some gathering that there is a plenty of opportunity in the law. That is the cyber law, cyber security, and unfortunately, in all over the world, for this challenging composition, there is no loss aspect that has been supposed to be designed. So there is an indeed need to redesign, revisit the different type of rules, regulations, and law that comes under cyber security and crypto security. That is another important branch of the law student that we need to supposed to consider. Another important point that madam has already cleaned, that is the clean and green energy. Clean and green energy. So coal is differently going to finish some after some time. Fuel is often going to finish some time. Then what we can use? Natural resources, that is the sun energy, water energy, wind energy, air energy. So we should develop this type of mechanism without having any much more investment than mechanical and technological component. How we can utilize these natural resources for the sustainable development? And we should think in very seriously, just like in Pawan Chakki, just like in the conversion of the sea water into the fresh eatable or drinking water. There are so many. So clean energy doesn't mean that unclean energy, green energy and green component. We should enhance and make some mechanism to provide such type of component in our curriculum, in our research about this particular cleanness and greenness about the energy. And no doubt that is the currency, as everybody required the card, everybody required the mobile app. Don't go to the bank, don't use the challan, don't use the currency physically, and that is what the digital economy. So economical constraint, management people constraint, finance people constraint, and technology people constraint should come together and develop a different type of model which is supposed to be into the multilingual in multidimensional. And in NEP 2020, that is one important aspect, that the multi-institutional, multilingual, multidimensional, because we in India having the more number of people speaking in the different languages. There are so many poor people, even in the urban, they don't understand the English, even in the general languages. So conversion of the regional languages is also one of the biggest challenge. And through the technology, if you are adapting to provide the gadget, children gadget, that the people should use this gadget in their own languages and in their own commitment of the content. So currency, digital currency, and all these type of things that we need awareness program through education, lower level education, middle education, as well as the higher education to motivate the people, to aggregate the people, to get involved in the development track, the whole world of the G20 along with. And important aspect is that after COVID, we can see that all flights are full, all transports are full, that are the tourism. So to take the break and the health and the proper mindset, we need to go away from the home and from the office. And that we have to use the tourism to understand the culture and heritage of each other. So tourism is again important. So tourism mechanism, we need the transport, we need the healthy services, we need the hotel and catering management. These are the another opportunities comes under this that we need to supposed to address in our higher education. And the sanitation, park and parking, these are the important issue in the urban areas, and the town planners and the government and civil engineers may take more attention about this particular aspect, and that also a part of curriculum that we can make in the higher education. The big question about the wastage. the wastage or zero waste management, it's okay to say zero waste management very effectively, but to implement it is very big challenge. We need all type of mechanism, social mechanism, then we can say some social moment, some individual moment, and then some government regulations and some government tracking also to manage this zero wastage in terms of biomedical, in terms of industry, in terms of e-wastages. E-wastages nowadays, the government has produced the GR. After 5 years, the gadget becomes the zero value, just like a vehicle. So vehicle also, that is what the metal wastage also in the biggest challenge. So how to manage, how to control, how to reuse, that is 3R that she has already mentioned, and how we should develop the mechanism through the higher education institution, through the course, how to mechanize this 3R for the zero wastage. That is also an important aspect for the higher education and curriculum. And altogether, the technology is supposed to even help. Me as an AI researchers, I'm very much happy that to say that we use the geospatial technology since long 1 decade. So geospatial technology is the surface mapping, surface area, remote sensing area, data analytics, machine learning, IoT, and big data analytics. These are the challenges, or these are the field not only for the computational people or for the engineering people, these are the field of everyone now. So everyone sees the AI, everyone sees the machine learning, everyone sees the IoT, everyone sees the big data analytics. So a lot of huge information sensed by the different sensors and different mechanism need to address properly, analyze the information properly, and design some structural mechanism properly to provide the sustainability and to resolve the conflict of the social problem altogether through the technology. So technological transport management, digital structure, multi-structural infrastructures, and one more on the important equally for women empowerment and childhood sustainability and the overall integrity about the rural people as well as urban people. That is also more important. That is geographical dividend is another important area for the consideration. So at the nutshell, I would like to say that no doubt all branches of the higher education, from the childhood education, middle level education, colleges to PG, masters and research level education, if we are not supposed to using the technology, we cannot able to achieve the desired level of expectation of the output in the span of duration of the desired time. So always used to use the technology, and technology is not a part of only the technological and engineering, it is a part of all community that we should involve in the higher education institution altogether in very deeply, and that's why we need to achieve this with the help of geospatial technology, with the help of GPRS, with the help of GIS, Geographical Information System. These are the major parameters if you adapted in our curriculum and research activity, even in the government sector, for e-card, for health card, for soil card, all type of card, and as the madam say, that is the uniform card for the payment mechanism system. The Tamil Nadu people don't know what is Marathi people don't know what is the Bengali. So multilingual translations and uniform critical concepts of the card, if you are going to use, we can swap easily, and they did not require suppose more mode of the technology. If such type of technology get adapted, then the people use this particular information for their sustainability. So all these are the important issues which is very much important for the young students and for the higher education institution. And we adapted the NEP 2020 by the Maharashtra, and we would like to authorize to the government of the India that we are very much ahead to implement this, not only in the state, not only in the country, but outside the country. Savitribai Phule University has a lot of MOU with the top level of universities in the world, that is the Drexel University, Stanford University, Pune universities, to adaptation and to absorb such type of curriculum in terms of research and higher education. Truthfully, we expect the support from the government and from the other institution, and we assure that we'll definitely go ahead to take it up as per the expectation of the government under the G20, and from the foreign guests and foreign people. We must welcome them. They are our guest, and as per the cultures of the Maharashtra and India, Atithi Devo Bhava. Those who are coming to the university campus and university, our students and faculty and authorities are welcome them, and we are proactively get participated and get involved to achieve the desired level of expectation as the Prime Minister Modi and government of India is expected. So with this brief, I must thanks again for giving us the lightening thought on this particularly important issue. And on behalf of the universities and whole authority of the university, I thanks to all of you by coming over here and giving the fruitful thought to the students. Entirely students are watching from all over the Maharashtra, and we may take a record, and If they're having any questions or answering, we'll open one particular mail ID, and you please respond them up to their best level of satisfaction. So thank you very much for attention and giving time to me. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, for your concluding remarks. On behalf of Savitribai Phule Pune University, once again, it's my privilege to propose a vote of thanks to all the dignitaries on the dais, off the dais, audience, HODs, principals, directors, staff, and students of various affiliated colleges of SPPU who are viewing this event online, national as well as international students, IT cell, Savitribai Phule Pune University for live webcast of this event, Grey Eye Vision, Estate, Center for Performing Arts for making available this auditorium, print and electronic media, staff of the International Center, Defense and Strategic Department, and all the others who have participated directly or indirectly for making this event a grand success. Thank you. We'll now have the national anthem, and then I would request the dignitaries to be on the dais for a group photograph.
जनगणमन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड़ उत्कल बंग विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उज्ज्वल जलधि तरंग तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मांगे गाहे तव जय गाथा जनगण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे
Jai Mataram. Group photograph for the dignitaries on the dais. Audience, there's tea and snacks kept outside, so please have that. And thank you for all of you to be wonderful audience this morning and afternoon. Thank you so much.